So anyway, a woman from Norway, Kari, she is my neighbor. She's the one living in the blue caravan next to mine. So she is over there. So that's nice to have a neighbor. Sit out on the deck. Tomorrow is mio giorno libero, my free day. I think I'm going to go into Pienza or Montepulciano and have a nice lunch and a glass of wine, go for a bike ride through the countryside. It'll be very nice. But yeah, I'm here to talk to you about what a typical day for me has been, where I wake up about 7:30, get to the kitchen about 5 till 8, prepare for la colazione, breakfast, which is usually just pane, different marmalades, there's tea, hot chocolate, and ricotta. We have like ricotta at every single meal, fresh ricotta, baked ricotta, all the time, ricotta, 24/7. So after that, we go to the stables and we clean out the troughs from hay because sheep like to just shit wherever. So we clean that up and then we put in the grain, and it's super dirty in the morning. I mean, after nighttime, sheep eat all the time and they're always pooping. So the whole floor of the stable is just full of poop. So we take all the hay out of the troughs, put it on the bottom of the stable, and what Ulisse does here is a word for this, a method of just poop and hay and poop and hay, and right now it's probably like 30 centimeters, I don't know, like 18 inches high, and eventually, after a couple months, Ulisse will bring in the tractor and then take all of that, that mixture of hay and poop, I just learned there's a word for that, ferme, l'oro del campesino, or contadino, the gold of the farmer, is this hay and poop mixture, right? So they'll clean that out eventually. So it's full of sheep. You have to muscle your way through, put the grain in the troughs. When the sheep's heads are down, you have to take your pitchfork, go back, get el fieno, the hay, and bring all the hay back into the hay. The place for the hay is right in between the two troughs with the grain, or on either side. So you fill all those up, and then so that's le pecore vecchie, the older sheep. So they're off on that side, and then next to that, the other stall, al fondo, in the back, are le capre, the goats, and then in the front are caprine, or capre giovane, the younger goats. And so you have to feed the back goats first, or else they'll just jump right over the fence, like into the pen of the sheep, and eat all the sheep grain. So you give them grain first, and then you give the sheep grain. You have to take out, they have an extra trough for these younger sheep in a kind of a separate room. You bring that out, put grain everywhere, and then while they're eating, you give hay to the back goats. The goats have a different hay than the sheep, and then the younger sheep get a lot of hay because they don't go out, they don't leave the stable, they're just there to walk around and eat, so they can get bigger and then make a lot of milk. And so while that is happening, there's like a mixture that we soak in water overnight for the pigs, and we drain that and take that bucket of the drained like grain fagioli, like bean mixture, and there's usually like a bucket, a secchia of composto. We take it down to the pigs, and so we give the pigs their grain and their compost, and there's a giant tank, plastic tank of whey from the cheesery, and so we fill up one of the like a half barrel cut in half in the pig pen, fill that up with whey, the pigs drink that, give them water, there's a tap, a big hose from the lake, turn that on, okay, pigs are all set up, and then there's a second place with più capre e pecore, with more goats and sheep. And so with the sheep, there's in the morning, nella mattina, it's solamente il fieno, only the hay. So there's like a giant bale of hay, and you have to like kind of like pull it apart and make it more edible for the sheep. And then next to them are the younger goats, the capre giovane, and give them grain. They have a place where there's like a big metal like yoke, and it's so you open it up. It's this bar with all these little like yolks on hinges, and there's a trough, and you put all the grain in the trough, and then the goats go to put their head in, put the yolks down, they stay there, they eat, because if you don't kind of harness them in, they will like fight each other, and the more aggressive goats will just like eat all the grain and push all the other goats out of the way. So we do that, and then when that's done, we have like bunches and bunches of olive tree branches, like trees and trees worth, and so we have to give them olive tree branches. And so the goats, these capre giovane, are on a hill, so we have to take all of the rami vecchie, the old branches, and turn them over and keep flipping them down the hill. And then once all the foliae, the leaves, have been eaten, we will dump them over the fence. So first we turn all of the vecchie rami, the old branches, over, and then we haul all of the new olive branches, fresh olive branches, from the path leading up to the goat pen into the goat pen. We give them all of those olive branches, and then after that we go up to the previous goats that are near le pecore giovane, the young sheep back at the stables. Oh, and before that we let the older sheep out to go down to the pasture. They go down a trail, and we let them in and then close the door, make sure they have lots of water, fill that up. Then we tie them in there. Bruna, the sheepdog, she goes there with them, kind of runs around, and we go and turn over the olive branches for the other goats. And then today, what we did was we cleaned out the one stall of the two mama goats down with the youngsters, which took a lot of work. We Stefania and I had pitchforks with the help of Marco, and we took up all the dirty hay, or straw, I'm sorry, dirty straw from the ground, and put it in a wheelbarrow and put it in a pile over by the donkeys and the pony. And so then that will dry out and become manure. So we did that up until lunch. And then after lunch, so the sheep that went out to pasture, they're on that like 30 centimeters, right? That 18 inches of like the straw and poop mixture. So when they run out of their stables to go out to the pasture, some of that kind of, gets kind of pushed down onto the ground. So we take a pala, a shovel, and we throw it back in the stables, get the straw, put a new layer of straw down. This is after lunch. And then we put new hay in. We clean out the troughs. We put grain in. We bring the sheep can stay out. So we pretty much do the whole thing all over again. And give more hay to the young sheep. Make sure everyone has water. Grain for the goats. They come back from eating their rami di olive, cerca del lago, their olive branches from the lake. They come down in, and you have to give the goats grain first, because if they're eating the hay first, they could buck their heads up and hit you in the face. So if they have the grain and their heads are down, it's much safer. They're kind of distracted with their heads down. So we do that, and then in the pomeriggio, in the afternoon, we give le altre pecore grano. The other sheeps have grain, the one where we, anyway, and the goats. And is that, sometimes you go to the garden, do some weeding, but yeah, at lunch and dinner, you either help the cook to chop some vegetables, prepare, and definitely afterwards you rinse your dishes, clean pulire pulire il bicchieri, wash the glasses. Today I washed the pots after lunch. And at the end of the day, there's usually, at least in the past couple of days, there hasn't been any hot water for a shower. So I did not bathe for 2 days. And last night I had a tepid shower. So that was exciting. If tonight there is no hot water, I think I'm just going to cook some water on the stove and just sponge bath out of some hot water. Because if my feet are cold, I do not sleep very well. Last night I couldn't find one of my socks. So I went to sleep without socks on and I woke up very cold. So before dinner, after the second feeding and cleaning and hay and grain and everything for the goats and the sheep and the pigs, at 7:30, at 7:30, I help milk the goats. So I'm getting better at that. And then after that, it's dinner time. And by the end of that, I am pooped. Hauling those branches around and all of that poopy hay. Yeah, I'm going to be very strong at the end of the week if I keep doing that. But I'm ready for a break. Domani è mio giorno libero, my free day. So I'm looking forward to that. And